Hey folks, welcome back. It's middle of the night. It's technically day 89, supposed to be the day 89 video. Um, so tomorrow will be day 90, 3 months of hard mode, and I'll be doing a video for that, definitely. But I don't think I remember the exact meaning of the notes I wrote here. Did a little flashcard for day 89. It was supposed to be day 87 actually, but I took a couple days off and just got through got through those days, no relapses or anything. Had sort of a close call moment there, but I guess close call in so far as what I would consider a close call at this point. But it's like I was on Facebook and you had the suggested pages thing, and it was like a picture there for some pager group that was kind of sexually explicit, and it wasn't like 100% showing, but it's kind of suggestive. And I had a little moment there where I kind of felt that the sort of rush that you get when you're sort of feeling, I guess, feeling the effects of a trigger or so, but it didn't go any further than that. So that was good, that I didn't go any further than that. But you got a little mini reminder of why I'm on this path. That being said, for the last few days or so, I've been struggling with this thing completely, well, not completely unrelated to Nofap, but not really of a sexual nature, but I've had a series of challenges I've been facing the last few days, last few weeks really. Things have been causing me a lot of stress and anxiety, and given that I'm into magic, into the occult, into mysticism and so on, I've been really tempted to utilize some of the grimoires I have in my hands and go through the whole ritual summoning up a djinn and quote unquote cutting a deal, you know what I'm saying, using the Ars Goetia, which is this grimoire that contains the instructions and so on how to establish contact with these jinn, for the purpose of essentially getting them to do certain things for you to, manifest changes in your life, that sort of thing. But I've gotten this feeling of obsessions from that, being obsessed with it, getting obsessed with different entities that are detailed in that book. And that does relate to Nofap, because for one thing, with Nofap we're contending with sexual obsession and the causes of that obsession, the causes of that addiction, and instead of continuing to feed the obsession, continuing to feed the addiction, we're really trying to find out why we are addicted, why we are obsessed with PMO, with sex in general, and the whole PMO routine, and then trying to resolve those reasons, or solve the solve the problems that are causing us to want to PMO, and essentially going from a state of dis-ease to a state of ease through that whole process. Now, this even more so relates to Nofap because, and I'll have to link the videos. There's this guy named Ryan Adam Murray, who's he's a Thelemite poet. He's an occultist, magician, comedian. He does all these different things, but he has a channel on YouTube where he's gone and basically put up videos covering different subjects relating to the occult, and of course he also has some videos of him doing stand-up comedy and poetry, and a few sort of like skits or like comedic videos. But one of the things he talks about, or in this one of the things that he's talked about in a few of his videos is like kind of like a cult philosophy, what magic should be used for, what its purpose is. And sorry, I had a lot to eat, and anywho, he talks about like the purpose of magic, what it's supposed to be used for, the philosophy behind it, the metaphysics of it, so on. And one of the videos in particular, he was talking about, you know, people, like when they get into magic, when they get into the occult, summoning up a demon or an infernal spirit, or, you know, one of those spirits that is not necessarily like, I mean, people can go to the extreme of, you know, trying to summon up the devil incarnate, you know, the devil himself, or some other spirit that's not necessarily of an angelic nature. But, you know, people get into that. It's kind of like their first, when they get into ceremonial magic, summoning up, or doing evocations, or, you know, invocations, etc. They oftentimes want to jump into, you know, stuff having to do with demons or infernal spirits, etc. Because because not only I guess not only because like those spirits tend to be associated with material effects, but there's the whole like almost like the temptation of it, the draw of it, the, I guess I might say the adventure of it, you know, the thrill of it. But he gets into Ryan Murray. He gets to talking about, you know, like I said, the purpose of magic, and he said it's like it's not something to be used to solve your problems in life with. It's supposed to be used for building to some goal beyond, you know, the problems people like have in their lives. For instance, like if you look in the Goetia, for instance, you have spirits in there that, you know, these jinn who their purpose, you know, for instance, when it comes to, you know, why someone would conjure up, you know, one of these spirits, the purpose is like, for instance, helping with matters of relationships or love or money, or you know, various kinds of knowledge and so on. And people might want to like summon up X spirit in order to get result Y, having to do those kinds of areas of life. And like you said, magic is not supposed to be used to solve those sorts of problems. There are all sorts of people out there who are otherwise healthy who, you know, they have a money issue. They go apply for a bunch of jobs, and they get an interview, and they go and they interview, and they get the job, and then they make the money they need, and they resolve their money problem. You know, there are people out there who have relationship problems. Maybe they got dumped, or they broke up with their girlfriend or boyfriend, or they got divorced, or what have you, and they go through the process of changing themselves, changing their life circumstances. Maybe they're still in the relationship, but they're having problems. Instead of, you know, going and summoning up spirit X, Y, or Z, they go and actually figure out what's going on, or what's you know, wrong with what I'm doing, my approach, the basis of the relationship, etc., etc., and they go resolve those things, and then they solve the problems in their lives, you know, instead of going and conjuring up some spirit and having the spirit fix the problem for them. So, I mean, how does this relate to Nofap? Well, for one thing, Nofap to me is not something to solve your problems with. You know, and insofar as it's not going to be like a quick and easy solution. You know, it's not going to be a quick and easy solution or trick for success, because for one thing, there is none, and it's not really about that. It's not a solution for all your problems. It's something to build with. Now, how is it something to build with? Well, for the majority of us, I'd say we've used PMO to run from our problems, to hide from our problems. We get stressed out, we get anxious, we get depressed about something in our life, whether it's a past memory or something that's happened in our recent lives that elicits those same emotions that some past event, you know, elicited some negative emotions. Or we got problems with money, we got problems with relationships, we're lonely, we never had a girlfriend, or we had a girlfriend years ago, and we haven't been able to get another girlfriend. You know, we have all the negative memories of the breakup. Whatever the case may be, we've been using PMO to run or hide or dodge having to face those underlying issues. and resolve them and do that kind of work and move on and move through them, really. And when you get onto Nofap, you're basically saying, I'm not running anymore, I'm not hiding anymore, it hasn't done me any good. It's allowed my life to get worse. It's in fact made my life worse, because instead of doing the work I needed to do and really just, facing my fear, letting it pass through me, like they say in Dune, by Frank Herbert, the Dune series, but fear is the mind killer, and I will face my fear and I'll let it pass through me. Well, instead of doing that kind of stuff, you're running away from it. When you get on Nofap, you say, no more running away, and it forces you to actually do the work. Find out why the heck it is that you get so stressed out when X, Y, or Z thing happens, or you get so anxious, why you get so depressed, why you feel the need to PMO, and then actually figuring out and doing the steps that you actually have to do in order for that thing to no longer be an issue, and therefore for you to no longer feel that pressure, or that push, or that drive, or that pull towards PMO. Now, this all brings me to some of my own personal issues relating to all this. Now, as I've found out about myself over the last few months, in part because I've been taking this class for students on probation. Now, I'm the kind of person who I have to feel like in my life I'm doing what I'm doing, even if it's just getting up in the morning, taking a cold shower, whatever. It has to feel like it's part of some big quest that I'm on, kind of like I'm in Lord of the Rings and I'm Frodo carrying the ring, or I'm Link in Legend of Zelda. Whatever the case may be, I have to feel like it's all part of some grand, story of my life, leading me to becoming like someone like, for instance, one of my big heroes, Jack Parsons, who was a real genius. He was a magician and occultist, but he was also a scientist and an engineer, one of the founders of JPL. And his life is kind of like, he was cut short very tragically, but if you look at it, it's like he had two sides to him, which was, one side was the engineer scientist side, the other side was the magician occultist side. And I've looked throughout history at various people like this as sources of inspiration, and I wanted to be like folks like that to a certain extent, obviously without all the negative sides, for instance, Jack Parsons and his untimely death due to a very mysterious explosion at his house. But without all that, looking at the positives, I've really puzzled over figures like this in history, because you want to study their lives, you want to take lessons from them and apply to your own life so you can have similar success. And I suppose one of the reasons why I've kind of gotten obsessed with Magick is because in part that's what he was involved with. But and I've wanted to have this sort of notion that he must have had some sort of contact with one of these preternatural spirits that then taught him some of the technology or the knowledge that led to the technology that he developed, that served as a basis for the space program. But I've come to the conclusion that he truly was a real genius, and he wasn't using magic to I'm sure there is probably some aspect there of him working with magic and then influencing his work in the occult, even his belief of traveling into space and going to the moon and so on. But he didn't use magic in a sense as a crutch. That, I can't figure out this scientific or technical problem, so therefore I have to go and conjure up spirit X, Y, or Z and have that spirit teach me what to do. And even if he did, which I'm leaving open the possibility in reality, but likelihood, not the case. But even if he did, it would be at the point where he'd exhausted all other ways, all other resources. He would have attacked the problem from 1,000 different angles, and if he couldn't figure it out, then he might turn to magic. Leaving open that possibility. But even with that possibility there, the reality is, if I truly want to be like, someone like that, I have to take that approach of, for instance, I'm studying chemical engineering. I had to actually learn it instead of thinking that there's some sort of easy way out, that I'm not going to have to put in the time, put in the effort, not going to have to adapt my study skills, study methods, and so on. And really stop lying to myself about all of this, about that there's some easy way out, there's some quick way to the solution when 1,000,001 people, 1,000,000,001 people, if there's been 1,000,000,001 people in the history of humanity, if they've succeeded at things, they have not gone at it with this mentality of, I got this crutch, I'll do this spell, or do this conjuration, and poof, all my problems will be gone away, because there is no thing like that out there, And this ultimately means that I'm going to have to learn patience if I want to live that dream life. And we're going to have to learn that patience, the patience required to actually do the work day by day, bit by bit, because, like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will the lives that we want to live be built in a day. So, I think that's pretty much it. I did have a few other things written on here, but they're kind of spur of the moment stuff, so I might talk about them in the next video. But I hope this video has helped, and I really appreciate the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. I did notice a couple of the comments from recently, and appreciate it. So thanks, and see you around. I'm gonna upload this when I get home. Yeah, so thanks, and good luck.